Strike Back series finale. Now, you guys are gonna see like slight flashes of light and stuff. It's because I actually rewound to the final shootout scene, so they're like right next to the car right now. And I love this episode. It was a great finale to an amazing series. And honestly, for me personally, and I'm sure for a lot of other people, depending on how much you really love this show, it really is the end of an era. Like, this show has honestly been one of my favorite shows that I've ever seen. It's like some of the best action I've ever seen in a series. It's always unbelievable. Like, the stunts are amazing, the story is amazing, the emotional moments do hit you. They might be every once in a while where we lose, like, one character. Pretty much per season, for the most part, it's one character. But it always hits. It always affects because all of these characters have always mattered. And it has always been an amazing series from beginning to end. And it really sucks to see the show go, and it's always a bittersweet thing whenever a series ends. But it was definitely an amazing finale. Of course, all the action that you could want. It was very scary at points because, like, at two separate occasions, it's like they made it seem like Scott died. And the first time was, of course, when he saw Julia when he was like passing out. I freaked out. Like, he closes his eyes and it fades to black, and I was freaking out. Then the next scene, he wakes up. I was just like, Jesus. Like, I was like actually rubbing my face, like, oh my God, I can't believe they just did that. Because I was freaking out. Like, I don't think that that's going to happen where they kill him, but it had me freaked out. And then the second time where, they end the scene, in like the shootout, and it's Scott shooting his gun. I love that that's how they ended it, whereas like his gun went empty and it just goes, and then it cuts to the next scene. I love that. And I assume that they both got out. And then, of course, Stonebridge, he goes in and he puts the dog tags down. And when he first did it, I didn't notice it. And then the guy picked up one of them, and then he picked up Julius. And then he put it down on the table, and I saw Scott's there because it was different. Because of course he was in the American military, and we have our dog tags are like oval shapes instead of just full on circles. So as soon as I saw that, I knew it was his, and I was freaking out. And of course they showed it, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know. I think this is like one spoiler I'm okay with. I think I saw this. I know I saw it when I was after I did my last review, and I was looking up pictures, and of course the finale for this show aired in London, like, or wherever it aired, in England and stuff. It aired there. I think it was like, I'm pretty sure the finale aired there when the premiere aired here. Because I put a comment on some video and I was like, I love the premiere and stuff. And then somebody replied to my comment mentioning how they saw the finale and they loved the way it ended. And I was like, man, that kind of sucks for me. Because, they had it like 10 weeks ago, they already saw the finale. So there was a clip. It was actually the ending clip of the guys on the motorcycle. It wasn't them riding the motorcycles. It's when they're just talking to each other. But it's the two of them together, and I was like, okay, that scene hasn't come up, so he's definitely alive. And that was like the only spoiler I was okay with. I was like, I'm totally fine knowing that they lived ahead of time, because I don't want them dead. Like, it didn't matter that that was slightly spoiled, and I kind of figured, it's Scott and Stonebridge. They're our main guys, but I was so glad that happened, because I was like, I don't want either of them to die. So I love that they each had two amazing, they both had amazing moments in this episode. Michael had an amazing scene with the Austrian former soldier, and he's talking about how in another world he'd be fixing the fence and arguing with his wife, but he's not sure what that world's like anymore. He can barely remember it, and he kind of hopes that he dies because without the life of a soldier, who knows, what's happening. So it was an amazing scene that they had. And then, of course, with Damien when he's going in, I guess it's the finale, so I'm going to call them by their first names because I always use their last names. So I'm going to go first names. So Damien, when he has the scene where he's wounded and stuff, and he's making jokes about the normal life, like stopping at red lights and things like that. And then Michael's like being a good father, and it completely changes the tone. And it was just an amazing scene. I love that moment. And then after that, we had what, honestly, despite the final fight scene, which is super epic and kind of scary because I was worried a little bit, the scene where they fight separately is probably my favorite action scene in this final episode. Like, it was all really amazing. Like, even the escape they had was super cool, where Damien was like, of course, Michael has like the plan to go out guns blazing, and Damien's like, he comes up with his own plan, and he uses the old, World War II grenade. That was super sweet. I was like, that was just really cool. It's like they come in, it's like they're gone, and it's just like it was just super quick the way I looked. It was just like, here's a grenade, and then it drops down and just huge explosion. I loved all of that stuff. But the scene where they're fighting alone, where they're split up and they fight, Michael has to fight two guys, Damien has to fight one dude, but he's of course already been injured. It was awesome. Like, it was so cool, and I especially love Damien's thing. Like, Michael's thing was really cool because he's taking on two guys. He got busted at first, so it's like I'm still, honestly, I rewound it like 3 or 4 times. I still tried to figure out how he caught the knife again, because I don't think he caught it with the same hand, but they kind of cut to a different camera angle. So I'm pretty sure he drops it, and then he catches it with his other hand. We just don't get to see the actual in-between motion, because they just thought the close-up shot looked better, and that's just how they edited it, which was fine by me. But it was such a cool scene. I'm pretty sure that's how it went, because it was in his other hand, I believe. But, he drops it and catches it and just stabs the guy, or he cuts the guy first, and then they go through a whole thing, and then he's getting beat up and stuff. And the way he killed the first guy, where he just gets thrown into him, and he just takes being tossed into this other guy and turns it into an advantage that helps him survive, where he runs at him and just goes boom, snaps that guy's neck, and then takes his gun and shoots the other guy. I was like, that was insane. And then Damien's whole thing, like, because when he wasn't in the scene and the guy was by the water, I'm like, if he's in this water, that is freaking amazing. And it was like right before he popped up, of course, and he just had a stick sharp, like he sharpened his stick, hit in the water, and just popped up and just stabs this guy in the neck, and then he has to take him out, and he eventually does it. So they're both wounded, and he gets this guy, and I was like, man, that is just such a badass moment. Like, yet another unbelievable moment in the series, and I loved it. It was such a cool scene, which of course led to the moment where I first thought he was gonna die. Excuse me, but that was a really scary scene for me too. And then we have an old CIA member, or old former coworker that Damien knew. They bring her in. She betrays them. It's like she helps him heal, bangs him at the end. So he has, like, in the final episode, he has a sex scene, which I thought was kind of funny. Is like, this totally keeps in line just with the show. He just has a final sex scene, and I just thought it was kind of funny that they managed to put it in there where it just made sense. And I was like, that's just kind of funny, but that's seasons 1 through 3 right there. So I kind of laughed. I just thought that was so funny. But they bring her in. We find out that she betrayed him. She gets taken down because they aren't wasting their money, I guess, unless they already had paid her, in which case, I don't know. But I'm assuming they hadn't paid her just yet. And then they took her down. Then we get an awesome ending. I think it was probably, I don't know, it had to have been like 8 minutes to 10 minutes long, that end scene. It was probably way less than that, but when you first see something, it seems like it lasts forever. But it was such a cool fight. And then we had several wounds. I mean, Damien got shot early on before they jumped off the dam, or I guess during the dam jump. And so he was wounded from that, but Michael got hit several different times. He got stabbed through the hand, then he got shot in the leg, so he's holding his gun like this, which I don't know guns 100%, but I guess for the gun he had, that wouldn't affect him. But for most other guns, if you had to hold it like with your arm, it would burn you. Like, it would be burning you while you're shooting. And I would assume it has to still at least be somewhat warm. But I guess because it wasn't like the actual muzzle, it wasn't burning his arm while he was doing it, which would just be a random cool effect. But it's like, I'd rather be burnt than dead. And it just looked, it was like, man, he got shot in the leg, he got stabbed through the arm, which when that first happened, or I guess through the hand, the arm's totally different. But when it first happened, I thought he reversed it on the guy. And I was like, how did he reverse that? And then because I rewound it twice before I let it continue, I was like, how did he reverse that? And then it went back, I was like, oh, he didn't. And he just stabbed the guy in the face. I didn't realize the knife was in his hand. I could have sworn he took it out of his hand and stabbed the guy in the neck. I didn't realize he took his whole hand with the knife out and basically just did this on the guy's neck. I thought he took it out of his hand and then stabbed the dude, but because it was kind of dark, so I couldn't tell. That was why I also thought he reversed it, because it was a little dark in that scene, because obviously it was night. But it was so cool. I was like, man. And then he had the knife in his hand, so I was like, that just made the last scene even cooler, because I thought for sure he had taken the knife out. But I love the ending fight. Um, we have our our two mercenaries who I mentioned in my last review. I don't mind. Like I kind of can't wait to see them get killed off. We only got the one dude with the black hair, but he was the one who kind of spoke for both of them. Admittedly, he was the one kind of in charge. And I wish I could remember his name. I actually rewound it to the fight scene so I could hear his name. But I totally forgot. And you know what? He's a villain, so honestly, I don't care enough to know about the villains because they suck. But we do get them officially killing one of them off, and Michael's the one who did it. And it was an awesome scene. If I can find it, I might just have to take a picture of my TV and put it up. But I want to use it as my thumbnail, the scene where we see the back of his head, and it's just Michael and Damien on the sides leaning on the car. That I just love the way that was shot. It just looked really amazing to me. I don't know why. I just thought this looks really cool. It's like the last episode. It's just a cool shot, and I really enjoyed that. But an amazing ending fight scene, amazing couple of fight scenes in this throughout this finale, and it was just Damien Scott, Michael Stonebridge, just two guys who have really changed throughout this series and have had relationships form and be destroyed, and it's just been an interesting series, and I can't promote this show enough to people that I know. I feel like I haven't done it enough, honestly, but it's such an amazing show. It's one of those shows where it's like, I wish more people talked about it, because not nearly enough people talk about it. And I watch, like I do every time, I watched the little how-to thing that they did, and it was how to rap Strike Back for this one. And I like that one. That was really cool. They showed a lot of little extra stuff that they never really show, and it was like talking about Comic-Con and talking about how the show is kind of led them to working with the Wounded Warrior Project, and it was really cool. It was cool, honestly, just to see the Comic-Con footage, because it's like, man, these are, a ton of people that love the show just like I do, and I never get to meet anyone. It's honestly, the only two people I know are my dad and my uncle, and we're the only three that I know of that love the show, outside of people that watch my reviews, of course, and just people who comment on other Strike Back stuff. But I wish I could just meet someone randomly and be like, you ever seen Strike Back? And just talk about how amazing this show is, because it is such a great series, and I thought this was an amazing finale. I think across the board it was just well done. I kind of wish we got to see them kill off the other mercenary guy as well, but like I said, it does make sense that it would only be one of them, because he was the one who, although it was, of course, both of them, it was definitely the guy with the dark hair more than the guy with blonde hair. And I love the ending scene with both of them on the motorcycles. They're going to Las Vegas, which I'm going to talk about how that is kind of funny to me. But I also love the scene where Michael goes to, I don't even know what position he has, to be totally honest, but he goes to him and he's like, of course I'm going to kill you. And I was just like, holy crap, he did that, and he just walked out like, I will kill you. At some point, sometime, you're dead. But I will. And then he just takes off, and I was like, that was really cool. Like, that was really fun. Like, it was funny, but it was also super, super cool. And the guy's just like, oh crap. And it's just like, what the heck do I make out of that? So I like that scene. But it was a great ending. They're on their bikes, they're just riding to Vegas. Like, they go separate ways at first, and then Michael turns around and he goes with Damien and Fan, and they're headed to Las Vegas. And it was just a cool scene. We got a different song for the first time ever. In the finale, we got a different song for the ending. So that was pretty interesting too. We actually had like a freeze frame of them like laughing and smiling, which I thought was just really cool and kind of funny at the same time, because that's just it's sort of a different, sort of a breakaway from how the shows normally end, of course. And I loved it. I thought it was perfect because it was the finale, and everything good and bad that's happened throughout these past couple seasons, it's all come to this, and they've made it, and they're able to just really like be like brothers and just live out their life however they want to do it. And I thought it was a great way to end it, with like the little freeze frame. Everyone's just laughing, and they're on the motorcycles, of course, again. Which they also had the motorcycle from the Austrian guy, which I thought was kind of funny. I was like, it was kind of cool when, of course, Michael is on the main seat, and then Damien has to get in like the little sidecar. It was really funny. Then he finds the goggles and the little hat. So I love that. It was really funny. The ending, the ending's kind of funny to me because both guys, both like the actors, Philip Winchester and Sullivan Stapleton, they're both in two shows now, and I've mentioned this before, I believe. But if you have not seen their new shows on TV, and uh, Sullivan Stapleton is in the new series Blind Spot, and Philip Winchester is in the new series The Player. Both of those shows are really good, and what's funny is that Philip is Michael, so his show actually takes place in Vegas, and I thought that was just kind of funny. But definitely check out both of those shows if you like the actors. The both shows are brand new, so they are both shows just premiered this season. Both are pretty freaking sweet. Like Blind Spot is sort of a mystery show, so it's not like tons of action like Strike Back. But The Player is actually like the network version of Strike Back. It's not as much bad language or blood, but there's been some crazy stuff. Like in the first episode, and this isn't a spoiler, it's not a huge thing, it's like the first big action thing that happens. So I guess it's sort of a spoiler, but there's a scene in the first episode where he literally runs off a building, grabs a rope, jumps down, and he swings through one of the penthouse windows and like slides off a table and then just takes a guy down. And that was the first episode. And the second one, I won't even talk about that, but they had an amazing ending scene that kind of blew my mind. So definitely check that out, because if you like the action of this, it's a less bloody version in The Player. So definitely check it out. It's amazing. Blind Spot is a really good mystery series that's been pretty freaking cool so far. So watch both those shows, because that's the only reason I watched both shows. I was like, I love these guys from Strike Back. I'm gonna watch both shows just because I'm kind of weird like that. When I guess it's because now that I've gotten into reviewing shows, I like to follow actors from one show that I love that they're in to like whatever new thing they're doing. I'm like, I'm just gonna support them, and that's how I end up watching the new shows. But both shows are absolutely amazing, so check them out. Great finale. One thing that was kind of funny, and I mentioned this in the last episode because I thought for sure they were going to kill off that one woman who had a son. They did kill off the Austrian guy in this episode, and I mentioned, like, every time there's some person that randomly comes into an episode, it's like, okay, that person is definitely getting killed off in this episode. And it didn't happen last time, but it happened in this one, and I just thought that was kind of funny. Like, I didn't expect it, but it totally happened in this episode, so it was just kind of funny to me. I thought that was just funny to note. But I love this finale. It was full of action, had some amazing moments between the guys, and even with, the Austrian character, they gave Michael his moment to talk about how he just saw things differently. How he kind of wanted to die in the soldier lifestyle because he wasn't used to, or wasn't sure he could go back to a normal life. But it was an amazing finale. I loved every moment of it. Scared me twice thinking Damien died, but loved it all the way through. Had a couple of good jokes in there. Mostly the happy, fun times were definitely towards the end there, but it had it throughout, and we had some great emotional moments, and obviously all the insane action that the show is known for. But I want to know what you guys thought about this finale, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And I guess there really isn't a big question. The show is ended. I guess one of the biggest things I can ask you guys is, what was your favorite moment that you can think of Strike Back? Like, or some of your favorite moments. If you have a list, just do that. I feel like I'm going to make a list for this show. I feel like I haven't done nearly enough to show my love for this amazing show. So I think I'm going to do a list video at some point, like my favorite episodes or fight scenes or whatever. But I know one of mine for sure. I'm pretty sure it was the very first season, and it's when they're in like Africa, and I swear it was one of the really early episodes. It may have been the early episode of season 2 or something, but they're in Africa. It's Scott and Stonebridge in basically just an open field. I think their only cover was like this crappy, messed up car, and they were fighting just a buttload of people, and they lived through that. And I think that was like the first just huge scene that I can think of. I don't know if that was the very first time they ever did that, where it was just like their first just like impossible odds scenario, but I think it was definitely one of the early ones for sure. and it was just like, holy crap, they're just in this giant field. I'm pretty sure that was the first time. I'm pretty sure that was the very first one where it was like they really killed like 30 or 40 people, and it was just them until the helicopter came in and helped them out at the end. And it was like, holy crap, I just thought about that. There's another moment when they were doing the final fight scene that reminded me of an episode when they were in this house. And I really wish I could remember exactly what seasons this stuff was in, but I'm pretty sure this was also season 2. This was definitely a while ago. And they were in like this little house. And they had like a crazy shootout scene with a bunch of people. I think it wasn't, I think there may have been someone else there. It wasn't just Scott and Stonebridge. But I think it was during like a rescue mission or something like that. And they got busted, and the house, I guess it wasn't like a tiny house, but it was a normal size house. And it was just a crazy fight scene inside this little itty bitty space. And then there's just so many other great scenes, like a lot of cool stuff this season when they like climbed up the building was super awesome, and they had to jump off. The last scene, or last episode, sorry, before this one, where they actually have the whole infiltrating scene, and they're just going through taking people out. They got busted and then had to figure stuff out after that. Just so many different things. All the characters have just there is not a single character that I didn't like at all. Like, I didn't like them because they were villains, but there was no character I didn't like. Like, just like how that character just sucks. They're not interesting to the show. Every character has just been awesome. So I love the series. Tons of great moments. I'm gonna have to get this show on like Blu-ray or something. I might just have to buy the whole series if they do a complete set, and I'll kind of wait and see if they do. If not, I think this will be one of the few shows where I actually just pick up the whole thing. I'm gonna pick up all 5 seasons as well. I'll pick up the original series as well, and every version, because I love that as well. But it's gonna be weird not having this show anymore, but I definitely loved it. And like I said, I want to know your favorite parts, about the series in general, and what are you guys gonna do? What shows are you guys gonna end up going to after this finale? Because it's an end of an era, like for action shows. As far as I'm concerned, it definitely is, because this was up there. This has, or had, I guess, some of the best action scenes, just period, in any show I've ever seen. But like I said, I want to know what you guys thought about this series finale for an amazing series. So please comment below, let me know. And of course, thanks for watching.